I think I'm done with the color picker for now, so I'm going to go down to the bottom and close it. And I do need to find these fish here and these fish here. So just looking at where these are placed, so these fish aren't number one. It's their background image because they're back behind the text. They're not, they're behind, so they're lined up with this heading. So I can see they're at the top of this, but they're not a background image only on the heading, or they would be cut off at right where my horizontal line is there. So they must be, so in order to have the fish be placed behind both the heading and that paragraph, there must be a container div around both of these items. That's the only way that we'd be able to do it, unless we put it on the body and like absolutely position it, or like move the background image into position. But that would be problematic, because then if the text size moves around, then the fish would not move with the text. So I think the best option here is to wrap a div around each one of these pairs of heading and paragraph, or in some cases, heading and multiple paragraphs. So I'll take a second to put in some extra divs. So this would be a good candidate. Maybe I'll do one up here, but I don't know if it's necessary. And they're all kind of the same thing. So I might say div class equals section, something like that. I'm going to copy that because I bet I'm going to be doing that a bunch. Close up the div here and then paste in the next div. Close it up here, paste in the next div, close it up here, paste in the next one. I'm going to beautify this afterwards, so hopefully that will clean up some of my issues with spacing. Here's another one. I feel like there's more than one paragraph in some of these things, but in the file that I'm given here, we don't have multiple paragraphs, so we'll just keep going here. There's the last section. I'm using the word section for a reason, not because it's special, but because later we're going to encounter a tag called section. And the reason the tag is called section is because this was a really common thing that people used a lot when you're sectioning up the page like this. And so later on it ended up becoming a tag. But really I don't have to class this section. I just decided to give them all the same class, and it seemed like an appropriate thing to use. I'm going to click the beautify button to get myself looking a little better, actually, surprisingly. Oh, there we go. That's better. And it looks like in order, so this is a nice way to group them together. In addition, there's a couple specific sections that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the one that says snails for fish and duck food, and also the one that cockroaches, mealworms. So I'm going to label them with a unique identifier instead. So they're all the same class, but this one is maybe also has an ID. ID equals, I don't know, section fish one. Fish one maybe, because I already called it the class of section, so fish one maybe, that's okay. And then the other one was snails for fish and duck food, ID equals fish two, something like that. So I can uniquely identify these items. Then if I want to do something to all the sections, I can do it in a section rule and then hit them all at once. But if I need to hit a particular background image on this div, I'm also covered there. So I can put background images on fish pictures, on fish one and fish two. I can imagine that in the glorious future, I might want to put a fish picture on each section. So I'm going to set it up like that, where the generic, so this would be generic background info, might go on the generic rules of this section, because I know each one of those is the class of section. As a reminder, this will style the class attribute, and this styles the ID attribute. So I might say that my general background rule is, I don't know what the URL is, there is no background color. Where are they? They are they're on the right at the top. So that's a similar thing that I can say that they both share. So I might say that they are, the position is right top, and also that they are not repeating, no repeat. Every one will be like that, say. So that's the generic information. And then fish 1 has a particular image, which probably is fish top. Yep. So in this one I'll say, and then specifically the actual image is fish top. So you will see this in action, and I'll do fish 2. So right, there we go. So here we have them here. And then if I do this one, all I have to do is override the image part because I'm picking up the rest of the background information from this more generic section rule up top. If you can structure your CSS like this, it will ultimately make it a lot easier to read and manage. Fish bottom. So more generic followed by specific info for the particular images. Refresh, and that's there. It's not super easy to read, but that's what it looks like in the mock-up. At this point, I think we might be done. We got the links, we got the fish. It's looking good. The background image is repeating sideways here. If I pull this over, that's looking fine. I'm pulling my browser window to the side to see, and I'm noticing that this background image is a repeating background. Did I do that on purpose? Actually, I said that this one wasn't repeating. Oh, but it's 2048 wide. I can't even get that wide on my monitor. So that's why I'm seeing it. I believe that this header actually does repeat, interestingly, but we don't have to care about that here. Yep, it looks like we're done. Onward. Suggest doing this one again if any of this was difficult.